Yeah, hello. Welcome to Time with the Prophet. We'll look at portions of Isaiah 51, but let's enjoy Joseph, Moses Bliss, and Mary. You are true to your word. You are wondrous, Lord. Your grace you lavish on me, and your greatness I see. You are true to your word. You are wondrous, Lord. My eyes have seen your goodness and your endless favor. You are true to your word. You are wondrous, Lord. Your grace you've lavished on me, and your greatness I've seen. You are true to your word. You are wondrous, Lord. My eyes have seen your goodness and your endless favor. You are true to your word. You are wondrous, Lord. Your grace you lavish on me, and your greatness I've seen. You are true to your word. You are wondrous, Lord. My eyes have seen your goodness and your endless favor. You are true to your word. You are wondrous, Lord. Your grace you've lavished on me, and your greatness I've seen. You are true to your word. You are wondrous, Lord. To your word. You are wondrous, Lord. I've seen your goodness and your mercy's favor. You are to your word. You are. Yes, that's Moses Bliss and soon to be Mary Bliss. My eyes have seen. When your eyes sees the goodness of the Lord, one of the things God does when you see God, when you encounter Him, is for Him to take from you, from your family, from whatever concerns you, judgment. The affliction, which is a legal affliction, which you would describe as judgment. That's one of the things God does. This morning, I want to look at Isaiah 51, verse 21 to 23. Another theme: you shall no longer drink it. So, what is the meaning of that? Isaiah 51, God was telling His people that they should look to the rock from which they were hent. They should look to Abraham their father and to Sarah who bore them. It says, for He called them alone and blessed them and increased them. One of the major afflictions you will face as a person of God, as someone called by God, is the affliction of being alone. And when I talk about being alone, I'm not talking about being lonely. I'm talking about the fact that sometimes there's a need for you to be alone if you are called by God. Because you see, the God who has called you and I is a very jealous God. And He likes fellowship with us. So sometimes when He wants to get deep with you and tell you things, give you instructions and stuff, either personally or if you are representing a group of people, a family, a business, and He has to call you alone, separate you. Not isolation, but separation. You know, some people have taken this to the extreme. They say, oh, we are called alone, so they always isolate themselves. And that is not the point I'm making. You see, God called us to be in this world, but to be separate from this world in our heart and our spirit and our minds and our thoughts and our actions. Jesus Christ, when he made us born again, he didn't take us out of this world. That's why he himself prayed in John 17 that I'm leaving my people in this world. I'm not saying, he was telling the Father, I'm not saying take them out of this world. What I'm saying is that protect and preserve them and deliver them from the evil one. So that's why the Bible says we are in this world, but we are not a part of this world, of the systems of this world, of that world he was talking about. He was talking about the fallen world. So you feel alone sometimes because God will tell you things which all the people around you may see. Everybody may see that they think that you are crazy. This can go on for 20 years. It can go on for 30 years. It can go on for 10 years, 5 years, a year. Because God has told you something. It is because one of the major ways God delivers us from certain things, from judgments and things, and even deliver our families, our loved ones, is to separate us from them so that the effects of whatever has been done will not have power over us. Then when the time comes, then he can send us forth to also deliver people who are under that same thing. That was the principle of what he did to Moses. He needed to transform his mind, so he made sure he was raised in Pharaoh's house, so that he would think the way he ought to think. He would think as a prince. You get my point? All his people were thinking as slaves. That's why when he went to deliver them, they give him problems. When he went to tell them first, they said, "No, Moses, leave us to serve the Egyptians," because they had a slave mentality. But Moses was raised as a prince in the house of Pharaoh. You get a point. So God separated him for a season. He went back to his people. So it was not as if he was going to stay in Pharaoh's house forever. But there are seasons when God calls you to separate yourself. Because you see, before you cannot give what you don't have. Before God can take a group of people you are leading to another dimension, God has to take you to that dimension first, so that you know the ropes there and know how to guide the people there. So, for example, God called Abraham alone, separated him. You think God could not have blessed Abraham in the Ur of the Chaldees, but he needed to be separate. Other than that, you see, there are technicalities and legalities in this realm. And God knows that unless Abraham is separate, because he will be under his father's house, and per spiritual law and protocol, there are even certain things God could not have done with him. Other than that, it will be a violation of God's own established order of respect for fatherhood and all those kind of things. You get my point? Because God is all wise. In fact, that's one of the reasons why God had to separate Joseph and take him to Egypt, to also orient him that as a foreshadow to go ahead, so that he will learn how to be a prince, so that when his people come, he will raise them. That's why I always say that when Joseph was there, the people prospered. His people were thinking as royalty and everything. When he died and another Pharaoh arose, because you see, it was not in them. They were doing all that because of Joseph. They were seeing. They were believing from the fleshly point that it's because Joseph is there. So when Joseph died, that generation felt, hey, Charlie, we don't have any connection to Pharaoh now. And then a new Pharaoh arose, who Bible says knew not Joseph. So he said, hey, these people, the way they are becoming powerful, we have to deal with them, otherwise they will take over. And that was the beginning of their persecution. Until God raised Moses 400 years later. And God, wanting to counteract that so that they will also see Moses in the same light, made sure that he was raised in Pharaoh's house. Because it takes a prince to deliver people who have been held captive by another prince. Principality to deliver another person, people who have been held by principality. It's not easy. So there's time when God separates us. And like I've said from the beginning, one of the ways God visits us is to take away judgment from us. There may have been a judgment occasion in your family, whether father's side or mother's side, because of certain things or certain covenants your great grandfather or grandfather or father or grandmother or mother, great grandmother went into. You get my point? Or which he was legally bound by. Maybe you don't know, maybe your grandmother or your mother was pledged to some deity. So you think you are a Christian. That is all. That is not all. Those altars will still speak until you silence those altars, or until you exempt that person from that altar. But these things are very highly spiritual and technical things, which you need someone who truly understands priesthood, who is a priest in the order of Melchizedek to do. Other than that, you have problems. because altar versus altar is always a battle. And if you are not skilled in priesthood, and you think it is just about these faith things, just declare. No, there are technicalities which has to be overcome. A lot of people have been sentenced to prison, even being sentenced to death based on technicalities. And there are technicalities and legalities in the realms of the spirit. You need someone who can navigate. Just like you need a lawyer here when you have a case and there are technicalities against you, who knows it and can navigate. That's the same way the spiritual realm works. Don't let anybody fool you. Yes, you are a citizen of a country. The lawyer is also a citizen. Why is that when you get a case in court, you don't say, I'm a citizen as well, so I can go and defend myself, even though the law allows you to defend yourself? Because you know you are not skilled enough, you don't know the law enough. So you will need that person, lawyer, who is more skilled than you and knows it, to use the technicalities to defend you. There are people who are even criminals. They've been let go off the hook or been given a slap on the wrist because they had a very good lawyer who knew how to use the technicalities to extricate them from the situations they were in. Let nobody fool you that just because we are all Christians, we are all in the same level of maturity, and God gives us all the same assignment. Then why would God consecrate some to be bishops, prophets, apostles? No. There are things where people, it's like specialists. We are general practitioners in medicine, we are specialists. When you have a serious case, you need a specialist to help you out. That's the same way it is in the realms of the spirit. You get my point? Yes. So a family will be going through a judgment. They are all Christians. They are all serving God. They go to church. They believe in Jesus Christ. But technicalities are working against them because altars which their names have been mentioned or ancestors, they are fighting. They are speaking against them. Limitations are against them. You will need someone who's also a fellow priest who will also lay altars to counteract and to fight those altars. And that's whatever he will do, it's not like he's doing it because he feels like doing it or he has seen someone do it too. He's doing it based on the instructions of the spirit, so that the thing will have legitimacy in the spirit, so that it can be effective to counteract all those wrongful altars. If there's a timely death, maybe from your mother's side, and you want to exempt your mother or break that altar, you have to be technical about it. You can't just go and say, I'm a Christian and declare. Don't deceive yourself. You think the devil just gives up his time. There are certain things you are supposed to do, and whatever you are supposed to do is something you have to do by the Spirit. But the Spirit will even show you what to do, when to do it. That is what is spiritual warfare better, proper. Then what I'm talking about the dimensions of saviors. People call themselves sent out to be deliverance to people. It is not every Christian who can do these things. You have to get to a certain level of maturity first, because the enemy will come against you. And if you are not skilled in the work of righteousness, if you are not proper about these things, you will become a casualty, and then even the people you want to help may also become casualties. So in the book of Isaiah 51, 21, 23, God was telling his people that they have suffered affliction and a lot of things, but they should not awake. Because his people, he said, the Assyrians oppressed them, they've gone through things, the Babylonians also oppressed them in things. And they were going through all this desolation and destruction and famine and sword because of their iniquity and their stubbornness, because of inherited sins of their fathers, because of their own sins. They were in trouble. And then God said the time for those judgment has ended, so they should awake now, and that he's no longer going to let them drink of that fury, because you see, God judged them in his anger because they were refusing to serve him and they were serving other things. So God was telling them now that the people who have afflicted them, they are the people he is now going to judge. But as for them, he is taking out that drink they were drinking, which drink was nothing but the cup of his fury. So that's my focus for this. But that's why I say you shall no longer drink it. That was God's desire to the people. I read for you Isaiah 51, 21, 23. It says, therefore, please hear this, you afflicted, talking about his people, and drank but not with wine. Thus says your Lord, the Lord and your God, who pleads the cause of his people. So he was pleading their cause now after all the judgment. He says, see, I have taken out of your hand the cup of trembling, the dregs of the cups of my fury. You shall no longer drink it, but I will put it into the hand of those who afflict you, who have said to you, lie down that we may walk over you. And you have laid your body like the ground, and as a street for those who walk over. So he says that he has pleaded the cause of his people. That means that their judgment is finished. He says, I have taken out of your hand the cup of trembling. See, because the judgment of God was upon them, the fury of God was upon them, they were always trembling. Whatever they get, they lose it. They felt nothing was going to work for us. He said, the dregs of the cup of my fury. Yes, and trouble upon trouble, desolation, famine, distraction, and sword. All this, he says, you shall no longer drink it. And that is the word to you and to me and to whatever concerns us. That the sickness, the disease, the disappointment, the almost there syndrome, the unfulfillment, the underachievement, the restrictions, the opposition, the sickness, the mental problems, the depressions, the lack of money, the debt, the disgrace, lack of completion of projects, all kinds of things, lack, unfruitfulness, barrenness, your land being unmarried, in the sense that you are not getting a fruit of your harvest. All those things were things happening to them because of the judgment. It says, you shall no longer drink it. That means that what was going on was judgment they were drinking. It says, but I will put it into the hand of those who afflict you. So God is now saying that He's now putting it into the hands of those who afflicted them, because all the suffering they were suffering was caused by people. Their defense were broken. God left them, so people were coming in and disturbing them. He says, but I will put it into the hand of those who afflict you, who have said to you, these people said to these people, that lie down that we may walk over you. No, when we say people walk over you, they treat you anyhow, they don't regard you, they afflict you because they think that nothing can, they think they are at an advantageous position than you, and they hate you. He says that we may walk over you, and you have laid your body like a ground and as a street for those to walk over. God says it has ended, that He's now going to give that affliction to the people. Let's see whether they will also survive it. My prayer for you this morning is that the dregs of the cup of God's fury, you shall no longer drink it. Your siblings, your parents, your family, your business, your marriage, your relationship, whatever concerns you, your health, your body shall no longer drink it, and have sickness upon sickness, ailment, diseases, boils, all kinds of things. That untimely death is cancelled from your lineage, my lineage, we shall no longer drink it. And all these promises are sealed in the blood of the Lamb and sealed by the power of the Holy Spirit, that it shall happen to all who believe and to all who are due. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Thanks for joining me. Continue to have a great week. Catch you Thursday morning, God willing, for Walk of the Epistles. Good morning. Thanks for joining me.